Sure. Good a place as any to start is Destiny Slocum. I mean, obviously she was outstanding tonight. Can you just talk about what the shot in the arm she gave you tonight?
Well, that day off, she obviously used very wisely, had just a ton of energy. She still wasn't 100%. She said before the game about 90, but I think she made her first 6 shots. So, there's something about those stick games. Everybody talks about Jordan and his stick game and all those different things. So I thought it was a favorable matchup, the way they went small with their starting lineup, and it got us off I think we had 3 straight threes to start the game. And just got us in a good frame of mind because we have traditionally had our Space Jam game down here with our teams. Mario said we won down here 5 years ago, but none of us were here. So it got us off to a great start. And I thought she carried us. At times when we went through stretches where we couldn't find a perimeter shot, she was really good driving it to the basket.
Jason, go ahead.
Coach, just talk about being able to close out the game, even though it was an ugly way to close it out, to make the plays at least enough, as they got it to 8 there.
Yeah, it's a good catch because we haven't been doing that. We've had 18-point leads that become deficits late and had to scrap. Instead, we kept it comfortable. We had all our timeouts. We had to use a couple there on the inbounds. Like we told our kids, that's why we saved them. That's why we have them for the road. So I think there was some areas that we really improved on. And learn from those things that we've done in the past. There was a couple of really good conversations during timeouts about time and score and understanding of the clock. We panicked a couple of times. 18 turnovers is way too many for us. But, in this environment against a team that was that aggressive, really, really happy and satisfied that we did have some areas where we improved.
Steve, go ahead.
How hard of a guard is Destiny when she's hitting threes early?
She's really impossible to guard because, that one shit was from 30 feet. You don't have a drill in your playbook where you work on guarding that far out. You don't tell that kid to be up and be in a stance. And with the ability to use the screen and get by people and then pull it, just the slightest space and gap, then with confidence to do it when we needed it. It makes it really hard. It makes it really, really hard to guard. That's a couple of all SEC defenders trying to stop her. Neither one of them were able to do it most of the night.
Troy, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, it seemed like Barnum had a pretty solid game tonight. What'd you like out of her performance?
Just, she was really good defensively. I thought she came in when Taylor came out and there was no slippage. She always gives us a lift offensively because she's got such good feel for the game. She's a gamer. She's one of those kids that if you come watch us practice, you might not pick her out of the lineup. But, man, when those big lights come on and the network shows up, she catches us in some really – she makes us really good inside. Even though we're not big, she's very elusive. But I was really proud of her defensive and rebounding. And she had a really good mindset, a really good attitude tonight, talking to her teammates and having good conversations, really took coaching. We need her and Jalen and Marquisha to be so good for us. It's somebody different every night. It was Jalen the other night coming in and playing 35 minutes. Tonight it was, Aaron doing what she did. So we need all 3 of those kids to round out our rotations.
Thanks, Coach.
Mike, do you think they got into your legs at all tonight? The quick turnaround. Do you think that was an issue at all for a couple of kids?
Well, I think I did. I practiced them way too hard yesterday. I went back and watched practice. I was like, what was I thinking? And then we're still traveling the day of. So I didn't take that into account, but I didn't think they played that way. No, I thought a couple of shots maybe short that normally go in, but this is a hard shooting environment. So I'll ask them. I'll find out, Paul, but I'm afraid we went a little too hard yesterday, maybe a little too long. And that's something I've got to make sure we don't do again.
Jason, go ahead.
I didn't double check it, but at halftime they had talked about how you guys may be a 4 seed now in Cream's latest projections. Oh. Today's a big one of those need to win kind of games, I think, as you finish this out. But how do you approach the end of the season as you head to the tournament with only a week left before the tournament, knowing that you're playing for seeding going forward?
And that's what we've talked to our kids about. I think we're solidly in, and every big win probably moves us up a line. If it moves us to the 4, I'd love to go ahead and move up to the 3 if we could. That keeps you away from those 1 seeds. But I tell you where I like it is just we finally have kind of taken a little bit of a bullet out of some people's conversation or their narrative if they're trying to look for stuff on us, because, this year, in my opinion, league standings don't mean much because you don't play common people, and certainly the home and the road's out of balance. So, but for so long, everybody's been saying, well, Arkansas is ranked so-and-so, but they're 9th in their league, or they're 10th in their league, or they're going to be the 10 seed. I hope we can keep playing ourselves to take that piece of narrative out of anybody's conversation that might want to try to drag us down. But I can tell you with this group, they have been this way all year long. All they want to do is get in there and hear their name called on that Monday. And they don't care. They don't care what the number is. They don't care who the opponent is. They just want the opportunity. And I know that's coach speak, but it's really ultimately true with this team.
Steve, go ahead.
Talk about you like to win with offense, but it seemed like LSU had trouble scoring up until the last few minutes. The defense was pretty consistent that you gave them trouble entire game, it seemed.
Guys, it's amazing what Coach Schaefer does with our team defensively. Because I can assure you, I'll give you all the recruiting files when all these kids graduate. There ain't one of them in there with an evaluation that said defensive stopper. Man, can really keep the other team from getting buckets. It was, we've got a team built around offense, and he schemes it up, and he knows he doesn't have to shut people out, but man, he got them in the right spots and really closed down their driving lanes. Gave up a few threes late, but that was by design because that took them a lot of time. They were out of possessions, but what he's done with our defense the last 2 years doesn't get enough credit and enough talk because, again, it's being done with a bunch of kids who are offensive minded. I give him time in practice, sometimes probably not enough. But it's a real challenge, and what he's done is to me is remarkable. If there's an assistant coach of the year award out there, I mean, he gets it, no question.
Troy, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, you were still able to, take down LSU pretty handily. And it seemed like Ramirez had kind of an odd night. I mean, not scoring any points, but, she's still productive, getting rebounds and stuff like that. What kind of a performance did you see from her?
Mature. Back 2 years ago, she'd have been pouty that the shots wasn't going in, or she would have turned some down. I told her not to stop shooting, or I would take her out. It's just it's a numbers thing. She's been shooting it so good, and boy, 2 of them tried to crawl in there, but 6 rebounds. She was in the right spot a bunch of times defensively. She gets labeled shooter and she gets labeled a lot of things, but she was really good coming off ball screens. Settled us down a little bit there in the press when we got a little panicked a couple times. And, that's why it was kind of funny. I hadn't really dawned on me. I don't know how many games we played, like 24 or something, but like the way they announced our starters tonight was like 5th year senior, 5th year. Like we got a lot of experience out there with a lot of seniors, and they played that way tonight.
Anyone else for Coach?
Hey, just talk about rebounding. I mean, I know they played a little smaller than probably normal. Their lineup was a little smaller, but it seemed like you guys were really aggressive.
Yeah, and I thought we got a lot of tie balls too that that didn't go down as rebounds. It could have been offensive ones for them. So that's attention to detail, and that's a change in that mindset that we had 3 games ago when we had our little card council that you and I talked about and you wrote so nicely about. Just get one more than you've been getting. And it's been something they talk about. They come check rebounds now instead of other things. So, as coaches, sometimes we forget that they're going to do what you count. So we started counting them, and we've gotten a little better at it. But it takes a lot of effort, a lot of because we are outsized, but we get those ones that we were missing early in the year that are on the floor. We're getting a bunch of those now, digging them out of there.
Anyone else for Coach? All right, we'll go ahead and end it there. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.